Hello everybody, I'm the Basement Reviewer, and well, first of all, sorry about the delay. I had band, and then I had a whole bunch of stuff come up. So I say, I've just been really busy, and I don't have my school iPad yet, so I have to record using a different iPad, and since I don't have a computer quite yet, which I'm saving up for, I'm going to get a better camera. Things are still incomplete, but I'm going to keep this going as long as I can. Well, today I'm going to deliver to you something that I promised way back in August. Now, time will be longer than that. I've been promising Bismuth review, but that's going nowhere right now. So today he's back, step back a little bit, and look at another one of my favorite shows, RWBY. And with this one, I need to say something real quick. I need to make a direct apology to one of my friends. I don't know if he wants to disclose his name in public, so I'm not going to, but his YouTube channel name is Hunt, capital S, D, lowercase d. I'm sorry, dude. Alright, so if you don't know, I constantly mocked this guy for saying that I would watch RWBY, then never doing it, and then mocking him about it. Because I didn't really expect much from this show. I don't really know why. I had no reason not to. I had no reason to dislike it at all. I just kind of didn't really give it a shot. And so, I'm sorry, Dan. And now it's one of my favorite shows, so thank you as well. Go check out his channel. He's got tons of great RWBY content, reaction stuff to other things, responses. I think I've seen a couple of them. He's got AMVs. He's got plenty of content, and he makes great videos, so definitely go check him out if you get the chance. But today, we're talking about RWBY. RWBY is an internet series made by a guy named Monty Aum. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, I really don't mean to. Who tragically passed away in Season 2, and it was very sad because he had a lot of influence on the internet. He's done a lot of great work, and I really respect the guy for that. Well, this show in particular takes place in a world called Remnants, which is a very interesting concept in the sense that the basic world around them is that Grimm have attacked humans, and humans have fought back with dust, and now there's a whole bunch of conspiracies going on in the new world where the humans are the civilization, but some things are wrong, and it just got a lot of things that go on at once, but it does it really well. And for that, I have to give the show respect. Doing this many things would be very difficult for anybody to do, and this show does it really well. However, my favorite moments are the ending chapters of Season 3, and I was going to do 10 through 12, but after deciding, I'm going through 11 through 12, just for simplicity's sake. So, sorry, my trailers might have been wrong, and pretty sure I've turned those private by now, but either way, let's just get on to the episodes. Alright, so this episode, episode 11 of Season 3, begins with my favorite character in the series, aside from the main protagonist, of course, but Roman Torchwick. Now, let me say something. Before this episode, he was just kind of a villain. We didn't really know any motivation. We had no result, and he sufficed as a villain for that time. This episode, what's going to end up happening is he's going to die. This is his final episode. And the question here is, do they do it in a good manner? Do they make his ending entertaining, sad, whatever it needs to be? And yes, because this is the episode where Roman goes from a decent villain to an amazing villain. And that's all happens with really just one.
But why? What do you get out of it?
You're asking the wrong questions, Red. It's not what I have to gain. It's that I can't afford to lose.
Despite everything, Torchwick is scared. He's scared of what will happen if he doesn't side with Salem. He's afraid for his life, and probably for Neo's life too, considering the fact that he flips out when Neo gets sent flying. So we know he actually does care about her. He might seem greedy in the earlier series, but this line really shows why. I mean, it's not what he has to gain. He's afraid of what he could lose. Of everything, the only reason he's following Salem is because he doesn't want to lose anything that means something to him. And that gives him motivation, which is the one thing that I really think Torchwick was really lacking. Well, I'm not going to go too much detail about this specific scene because you can go find this show on YouTube. And these 2 episodes are already out because they're on Volume 5 by the time this is out. Anyway, well, with this scene, just so you know, every part is played off perfectly. And by this scene, I just mean this little clips part. Because the way Volume 11 is framed is it's going between multiple different scenes. Specifically, the scene with Blake and Adam, the scene with RWBY, and Torchwick with a couple of others mixed in there. So basically, I'm just going to go over the basic concept of the RWBY Torchwick plot first, and then go over what happened with Blake and them. Essentially, all this leads to Torchwick's death because he says the one thing you never say in a cartoon.
As for me, I'll do what I do best. Lie, steal, cheat, and survive!
That's like saying what could possibly go wrong in a cartoon. The second a character says it, you know what's gonna happen. If a character says, oh, I'm gonna survive, they're gonna die. Probably quickly after they say it, too. If they say, oh, what could possibly go wrong? You know it's a joke, isn't it? Everything's gonna go wrong. I mean, how cliche can this thing get? That's what I read, because this show is very much avoidant of cliches. For the most part, from what I can tell, at least. I mean, it's very heavily inspired by anime, so it might have some anime cliches. I don't watch a lot of that, so I wouldn't know. But it's just, every scene line until this was great. I mean, even this ending line was decent. It's just, why would you have them say the most cliche thing for a cartoon character to say before they die? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Let me preface this by, I'm not mad. It was a loosely humorous thing that they did. I'm just saying, he should have known better, really. Here, word of advice. If you ever find yourself in a cartoon with action, especially if it has action, never say you're going to survive. You'll probably be better off if you say you're going to die. If you're honestly, you're probably going to die, you're more likely to get off alive than if you say you're going to remain alive for the entirety of the series. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's so cliche.
Running away again? Is that what you've become, my love? A coward?
Why are you doing this?
You and I were going to change the world, remember? We were destined to light the fires of revolution. Consider this the spark.
So the other part of episode 11 revolves around Blake and a character that haven't been introduced to since the original character shorts. As far as to my knowledge, I mean, at least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Anyway, his name is Adam, and he becomes a much more important role in Volume 4, and especially now it's in like Volume 5. But that's not what I'm talking about here. This is his introduction to anybody who didn't see the trailers. And what an introduction it is. He's cruel. To be honest, he is very, very abusive is what we're seeing. Like, he sees Blake almost as like his lover. Maybe they were in one point, but he sees that as though they're still together. This is what he's like seeing this as. And he's acting as though she's like, just like not following his command, and then he's just really pissed off about it. And it is overall leads to a kind of creepy atmosphere, honestly. And I'm sure that's what they were going for. You feel uncomfortable in this scene, and I am about 90% sure that is what they wanted you to feel. But this character, he's designed specifically for you to hate. And it really comes off. He's got a lot of cool lines himself, too. Like, we all know right away with this one what his motivation is. And with a lot of the movie characters, that's not something you usually get. With the villains, at least. One of RWBY's biggest flaws is it sometimes forgets to make its villains a character with motivation before they make them an interesting villain. And what I mean by that is, they're still fun characters to watch, but they're never going to be the great characters until they get that motivation, like with Torchwick in this episode and Adam immediately. And don't get me wrong, they do have their great villains, like Emerald was a great start to whatever it finishes. But Adam himself, he has the motivation of, he's a faunus. He's a member of the White Fang. He wants, well, he doesn't want equality anymore, he just wants the faunus to be superior because of years of oppression. And quite frankly, there's a lot of interesting hidden morals behind his story arc so far. What his arc seems to be pretty much saying is that even though oppression exists and has existed, it is going to ultimately be more beneficial to everyone if everyone is actually equal, and if the race becomes those oppressed ones doesn't try for superiority. And that is definitely an interesting one. Just get down to it. The part with Blake and Adam is establishing one major thing. Adam's character and what he's going to look like throughout the rest of the series. And quite frankly, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what becomes of this character. He makes a good villain. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Yang comes in to try to interfere, try to get Blake, but then ends up interfering with the fight and getting her arm cut off. And that'll be a very major thing in Volume 4. I mean, it's major now, but they focus more on that later. And quite frankly, it's very well played off. The emotion is just well played. As for the other parts, it's basically Pyrrha with the Fall Maiden and trying to get the maiden powers, and then the maiden gets killed and her powers go to main antagonist Cinder. Well, at least at this point, she was the main antagonist. I'll get on to that later. So, Volume 11... my overall thoughts, if you want to hear them, are, it is my favorite episode, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to pick between these two episodes. That's why I'm reviewing both of them now. But episode 11 was just fantastic in every sense of the word. Everything they wanted to do, they got done right. And that is difficult to do in anything. Whether it be music, TV, video games, or movie. So, I really applaud them, but how did they do with the next episode? Well, let's take a look into it and find out. Saw was the battle between Ozpin and Cinder. And as you probably could tell, the framing was a little different from most of the battles in the series. I mean, I guess you couldn't tell if you haven't watched the series before. But they tried something new, and it really worked. And at least in my opinion, it did. And quite frankly, it gets you excited for the rest of the episode to see what it's going to contain. Because it promises epic battles throughout the episode. And, well, it's not throughout the entirety of the episode. I mean, a lot of this episode is going to end up being exposition for Volume 4. But that's not what I'm focusing on today. I'm focusing specifically on one thing. Particularly Pyrrha and everything that goes on with her in this episode. I mean, this episode closes not with her and John. It essentially makes that ship a reality, which was foreshadowed a heck of a lot since Volume 1. So, that happens. She's going to end up challenging Cinder, who just beat Ozpin. And for those of you who don't quite understand, think of it as though the Cleveland Browns were to challenge the New England Patriots. You already know what's going to happen. But you still just kind of want to see if they can put up a fight. And, quite frankly, I mean, it's going to end up terrible. I apologize for you Browns fans. I don't mean to upset you, but quite frankly, your team should defend you right now.
What are you gonna do? No. No, Pyrrha, you can't. You saw how powerful she is. Pyrrha, I won't let you do...
It's Sean! Where are you?
Wait! Please, you have to stop her.
What?
Pyrrha! She's going after that woman at the top of the tower. She doesn't stand a chance.
Sean, what are you talking about? Where are you?
Don't worry about me! Please, you have to save Pyrrha.
We will. Are you okay?
Ah! Please.
Sean? Sean!
I'm sorry. That scene is played off really well, and it really gets off the emotions that it wants to. And when you realize, of course, what's going on here is John's basically about to lose the girlfriend that he just got. Yeah, they're gonna give him that final kiss that everyone wanted to see. They're gonna give him that. But first, right after that, they're gonna kill her. Ooh, so much death in so little time. Quite frankly, it's shocking how much death they're willing to put in this series. In 3 or 4 episodes, they've had like 3 good guys die, and I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a heck of a lot for anything. Like this Disney movie, it's like 1 person dies, and somehow Disney gets the claim of a lot of people die in their movies. Oh yeah, but everything's happy in Disney compared to pretty much anything else. Disney is not as dark as everyone claims it is. There's a couple of dark moments, but that doesn't stack up against really anything else. And wait, where am I going with this? I'm sorry, I got terribly sidetracked here. Let's continue, shall we?
It's unfortunate you were promised a power that was never truly yours. But take comfort in knowing that I will use it in ways you could never have imagined.
Do you believe in destiny?
Yes.
So after this, essentially what happens is Ruby uses her Silver Eyes powers, which is something that's never really fully explained to my knowledge. Like, I don't understand how it works, it just kind of does. But, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's still another volume to explain that, so we're gonna not focus too much on that right now. Instead, we're gonna talk about what the rest of the episode does, and because we're not even halfway through this episode, the rest of the episode is a lot of exposition. That's really what it is. And that's not a bad thing. It's very necessary exposition in the sense that it's setting up what's going to be Volume 4. And that is a necessary thing to do since we all knew this wasn't the end. It was just the end of the beginning. That's the episode's title. So, you know, we don't really know how much longer this is going to last, but we do know that it's probably a little bit far from over since the beginning just ended in Volume 3. So logically, there should be 9 volumes. Because you got the first 3 were the beginning, got the middle 3, and from 4 to 6, and then you got the end 3 from 7 to 9. So, you know, only logically. What am I talking about? This review, I think, started with some focus, and now I'm losing it. Well, back on focus. Because there's a lot of exposition, I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about it, but instead, the biggest part of here is a really well-written speech by the actual main antagonist of the series, Salem. Now, Salem works great as an antagonist for one major reason. We don't know much about her, but we do. The one thing we do know is that she has a relation to the main villain, like the main monster to the series, the Grimm, and that she's pretty dang evil. So things are already looking great. Anyway, great. Oh gosh, my main reasons are basically because she's a villain and she's related to the other villain. Well, you know, whatever. But that aside, now that I've brought up these 2 episodes, I really need to talk about one thing in particular. Why reviewed RWBY? Why choose to do this? Outside of it being a promise to my friend. Well, to be completely honest with you, it's because I think RWBY is a lot more important than you might think. It's one of the first YouTube series to maintain a long-going storyline. And it kind of has proven that it can be done. And I think it could inspire more people to do a similar thing. It's essentially the first TV show on YouTube. Like, first, story-based TV show on YouTube. And that is amazing. That it can be this good and not be relying on, a TV's ad support, which would give it a lot more money. But they decided to go for more freedom. So I respect them for that. Anyway, well, that said, I'm the Basement Reviewer, and I will see you in the next review, where we will probably be taking a look at the Loud House's Brawl in the Family, that or Nick sitcoms. I had not decided. But I'd like to thank you for watching this video. Please consider giving it a like and possibly subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more reviews. And quite frankly, they will be coming out a lot more consistently now that I have some time. But I'd like to thank you again for just coming over and watching my channel and hearing out my opinions. Because that's what these reviews are all going to be. They're going to be my opinions, whether or not it agrees with the mass public or not.